And good afternoon. This is Tironan and World of Warplanes. Today we're going to be reviewing the KI-43 Hayabusa. It's the KI-43 2, which the Japanese pilots came back and said this is a great, nice, acrobatic, uh, uh, maneuverable aircraft. We can do all sorts of low-speed acrobatics, but it's not fast enough. It doesn't have enough armament. And as such things go, it basically doesn't have enough health, or it doesn't stand up to enemy fire very well from a historical perspective. And so they made some changes. More powerful engine, a two-stage supercharger, and they came in with a better cannon. It still really didn't address the need, which was that the Allied fighters at the time were uh, fast and getting faster, much heavier, much better armored, much better armed. We can see this in the upgrades here. This did have a form of self-sealing fuel tank, and it did have some armor on it for the pilot. And the self-sealing fuel tank was fairly effective, right up to 7.7 caliber. But when it started being 50 caliber and above, not so much. So here you can see that we've already fully upgraded the cannon, we've fully upgraded the airframe, and we've fully upgraded the engine. The problems with this, let's talk a little bit about it. It's slow. Most of the aircraft at this tier are coming in a good 100 kilometers faster at the least, and some considerably in excess of that. So it's down 130 to 150 in airspeed. Maneuverability, you're still at the top of the food chain. Altitude performance is still subpar. Gun armament is terrible. You are looking not only at the gun armament, but you still have the overheat issue. And survivability, it puts you dead last, or if it isn't dead last, it's so close as to not make a difference. Let's go ahead and move into battle. I've played this and upgraded it to this point. It's everything that the Hayabusa 1 was, and it's faster, takes damage, a little more damage. But when the average fighter is putting out about 240 to 360 damage per second, you're still not going to last a very long time. This is still a turn and burn fighter. This is the aircraft that you're going to take into furballs because you want people to try to turn with you. You want to be as close as you can get. You do not want to be at high altitude. And of course, with my luck, this is the map that you never want to see. And this battle where everything takes place at high altitude. So we're going to run down, and I'm going to break my own rule and run down to the nearest air base and try to sucker aircraft down. What's it like tactically? Well, it means that you're not going to be chasing down anybody. You have a 5 second boost, which is very subpar. You can't take much damage. You're not going to chase anybody down, and your performance at altitude isn't very good. Um, Virtually every Tier 5 fighter out there, with the exception of a few of the Soviet turn and burns, are going to be much, much better than you are at this sort of thing. And you can see right now that the opposition is coming in. And you got a 6 second boost on here. It's not nearly enough. You need about 10 on this. You need some survivability and some. You will see me stepping my fire, and the reason for that is not because I'm not certain of my aim, is that I am trying to maintain my fire rate for as much as I can. Again, your maneuverability is second to none. You really just have it all over anybody that's trying to out-track you. And this poor mobile pilot just never stood a chance. So it does its job as intended very well. Unfortunately, just as in the war, this was getting to be an outmoded style of fighting. And cry all you want, but that's just a fact. Acrobatics didn't buy you anything when your enemy would zoom in at 400 knots or 380 knots, burst you with fire, and then immediately run back down to whatever speed he wanted to really deal with you at. Um, it's a frustrating fighter to play if you, especially at this tier. There's just no getting around it. You might want to do a lot more damage, but you kind of have the worst of both worlds. You are very low in your firepower, and you have to stay on an enemy's tail forever with this very vulnerable plane. That's which means that you are just not going, should not be tempted to hang around like grim death on somebody's tail, hoping to kill them. You're going to have to do what damage you can do, and quickly turn off if there's any opposition around. You notice I am turning around not because I'm trying to get out of a fight, but I'm trying to stay alive and actually contribute to my team a little bit, which you're not going to do as an aluminum shower from 5,000 feet, which is about all you can reasonably expect to contribute if you fire. Now, the minute you see an enemy on your tail, you have to move. You have to move right that second. You cannot wait even a smidgen of time. You've got to get it on right away. You get your damage, you can get out of there very quickly, and you find your next target. Done my damage, get off that trigger very quickly, let your guns cool back down, get back on it, touch them up a little bit. You've done what you can do. Move on. This is a case of the aircraft is going to very much set the terms of what you can do and what you can't. I don't like it, but I gotta live with it. And why would I ever put myself in this position of having to deal with this aircraft? Well, because our viewers are going to want to use this aircraft, or might use this aircraft. I want them to know what we're getting into. This is, you notice this F4U took me down in no time. You're going to see this, the Spitfires, the Messerschmitts, 109s, and any of the heavy fighters are going to take you down in a second or less. So it's going to have to be a little different than you've normally dealt with. If you're used to the Japanese fighter line, the Zeros can take punishment a little better, but it is not all that much better. The aircraft after this is what I'm also interested in, the KI-61, which had a license copy of the Daimler-Benz 600 series engine in it. I forget exactly which one it was, but the class of 1500 horsepower engines. And I'm very interested in seeing what that's going to be like. And there's an aircraft that comes later that I am very interested in, the KI-84, which was historically one of the aircraft that really was a competitor to the P-51s, the Hellcats, the Corsairs. It was capable of 427 miles an hour if the gas was good enough. It was everything that the Allied aircraft were. Of course, the Japanese didn't have a lot of fuel choices, and so they were reporting about 390 miles per hour. But when the KI-84 was taken to the United States, given American high-octane gas and oils that were available to the U.S., who was a exporter of oil at that time, believe it or not. It pulled 427 miles an hour in straight flight, and the Allied pilots, test pilots that were flying it, reported it was a fearsome adversary. So I'm very much interested in seeing if it can live up to its reputation. Whether it can or not, I don't know. How it plays out in the game may be very different. So I've got some things to look forward to. Hence why I have this particular fighter. And plus, I don't want my readers or my viewers stumbling into an aircraft where they weren't fully warned. I've done my bit. Hopefully, they'll do theirs. Okay, saved a fellow pilot there. Um, Tactical hint, some of you are very long-time players, know the game very well. If you're a new player and you've gotten up to this level and you're not doing everything possible to protect your fellow pilots, um, I'm going to give you a pointer in that you should go out there and do everything possible. Break off your current target. Take a less desirable target. Your number one priority is keep those guys alive as long as you can, and hopefully you'll have a better experience. This is very typical of the KI-43 in battle. Anybody rams you, you're gone. Anybody that shoots at you, you're gone. If it's going to be kind of a hard slog. Yeah, if you want to get to the superior Japanese aircraft beyond it, it's one you're going to have to do. And unfortunately, between the KI-43-1 and the KI-43-2, you're going to have to do it twice. That's that's an awfully tough row to hoe with this particular aircraft, and I wish you better luck than I've had with it. It has been, I've had some great games, but I will tell you that contributing to the team is very, very tough in this aircraft, due to the fact you can't really chase anyone down, um, nor can you get away from them. When they start making high-speed dives, you can only maneuver very quickly, and that's going to require religious attention to your radar, and not get too involved into any particular dogfight or stay behind anybody longer than is absolutely necessary to get them off your opponent, your teammate, get your opponent off your teammate, or finish off low hit point opposing aircraft. And that's a tough role to play. If you get overly involved, you saw on the second plane I lost, I got a little too wrapped up in trying to finish up a enemy aircraft, and Corsair came by and I was gone just that quickly. This is one that World of Warplanes may want to look at because it is a tough road to hoe to ask a player to put up with this for two in a row. You may want to look at changing out the KI-43-2 to something else. Believe it or not, I came up third in this, and how I did that with that low score, I'll never know. Jeez. Wow. I've got to be honest, I never expected to hit third. Well, not with that score, and not with that performance. Um, Maybe I'm being too tough on myself, I don't know. But we assisted in destroying 6 aircraft, and we actually destroyed 3. Maybe that's what did it. Um, Laid a little bit of experience and some money, not too bad. But this is very typical of what you'd expect with the KI-43. The reward, however, is it gets better. Your next aircraft is the KI-61, and as you can tell, the survivability goes up by almost quite a few, almost 70 points, which is 90 points actually. And gun armament is a little better. It's got machine guns with it, and you get the 12.7s and the 7.7s, and then you can get that to two 50s and a pair of 20s, which brings it very close to Spitfire armament. And Spitfire has four 303s. I'm not sure that what the difference would be, but I kind of prefer the 12.7s to the 303s. And the one I'm really looking forward to seeing eventually is going to be the Ki 47 Hayate, which by the way means hail in Japanese. Um, or so I'm told. I hope I have that correct. So, hope you've enjoyed the video. I wanted to get this out for you. I'll have to grind through this. I'll save you going through a lot of this. Might throw up one or two more if I have a particularly successful game, but this should be the last that we should see of the Hayate for a while. Hayabusa for a while, I should say. Got my mind stuck on the Hayate, obviously. Um, all in all, it's a challenging plane to fly. I hope you have a great day and look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you like the video, please, by all means, like it, and I would urge you to subscribe. I'll get that out sooner or later. I'm a new content provider, and I can use all the help you can give me. Thank you.